Hi, everybody. Welcome to Breaking Bread with Alie and Gabby. I'm Gabby Loren.
And I'm Alie Valerio. Today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Rabbi Yitz Jacobs. He's incredible. He's been a rabbi with Aish for the past 17 years, led thousands of people all over the world, especially young people, to Israel. I had the pleasure of going with him to Israel last year, which inspired me to become a little bit more religious and start exploring my Judaism. He's also working on some new projects, and today we're going to be talking about happiness and finding light through the darkness. So welcome, Rabbi J.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So if you want, you can give us a little intro on you too, and then we'll just go straight into talking about happiness. I know you've given this lecture a lot, so it's really, I heard you do this.
Yeah, you heard me. You taped it. You're like, I got it.
In
I remember
spot.
that.
It was amazing.
In spot. Exactly. Yeah. Good times. It's such an important class because right now we are looking at a time where a lot of people's lives are a little bit in turmoil. There's a lot of uncertainty in people's ways of interacting. People can't date anymore the way they were dating. They can't socialize. So it's a very challenging time. So a lot of the things that gave us happiness are no longer available. And we kind of have to develop maybe some new resources to get through this time and actually use this time to grow, because everything is an opportunity, as we know. So what I did a while ago is I created a class. There's a song. You guys have all heard the wedding song. You know what we sing? Gila, Rina. If you haven't heard it, we sing it at like all the weddings. And the thing was always, it's all these different ways that Jews describe happiness. There's so many words for happiness in the Jewish religion. So I was like, wow, that's cool. And they said, if you want to be a happiness connoisseur, you can develop such a sophisticated understanding of happiness. Okay, all the words mean different things. So I thought to myself, wow. So I said, tell me, what do all the words mean? And people didn't have a really clear, coherent response to that. People knew that it would do this, but no one did it. So I decided to do it. And I came up with this incredible discovery that changed my life through doing this process, okay? So that's what I want to share, and I would love you to be extremely interactive. So when I describe something, if you guys have examples in your own lives, it would add so much if you guys could kind of like tap in and share with when and how you experience these different types of things.
We are in.
Okay, no forced. I don't force participation, but you know. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is called Sassoon. You guys know the famous brand Vidal Sassoon. That's actually a Jewish guy. He ended up with the family in Shanghai fleeing from the Holocaust. So Sassoon is a Jewish word, and of course it means happiness, but they all mean happiness, okay? So what type of happiness is Sassoon? So Sassoon is the joy that comes from achievement, from accomplishment. We all know that when we work for something and we earn it and then we achieve, we feel a profound sense of joy, of happiness. It's like getting through years of school, working your way, and then standing there at graduation. And you think to yourself, wow. Right? I did it. Wow. Right? It's that amazing sense. It's passing the bar exam. You know, you're like, I just studied for the bar. I took the bar and I passed. Right? There's a tremendous sense of accomplishment that we all feel, which we all love. Right? Okay. Now, with each one of these happiness, I have to ask a few questions. My first question is, and if you have any ideas of when you personally experienced these, please add. My first question is, how long does the experience of Sassoon last? Give me a time frame. What?
Not long.
How long? Minutes, days, weeks, months?
In my opinion, I think it's just a very quick, instinctual feeling, and then it goes away.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I think there's a range. It could last a day. Some could last a couple of weeks. Right? Like I got into the school, right? Okay, there could be other things in there also. But you feel good for a while. But the point is, it's quite temporary. Now, what if you define yourself by your accomplishments? That is how you see who you are. And you define happiness as sasun, which is accomplishment. So what's going to happen with your life? What's your life going to look like? Because we all want happiness, right? We're all pursuing happiness. So if you define happiness as sason, what is your life going to look like?
You're chasing it. You're just constantly going to be chasing the next thing.
One accomplishment after another. You become an accomplishment addict. Do you guys know people like that?
Everybody.
Right.
We're all of these things. That's what's great about it. Now, does this mean that sason is bad? Absolutely not. No happiness is bad. Okay, but don't expect it to last forever, because it wasn't designed to last forever. So what I tell people is, when you're experiencing sason, you say to yourself, I am feeling the most profound experience of sasun right now. I'm having the best time. It's so great. But don't hold on to it. Don't expect it to last forever, but savor every second of it. Okay?
Do you have to tell people this in marriage too?
That's our next class, right?
Gabby.
Are you
Love
married?
part 2, Rabbi.
Are you married? Are we getting personal here?
No,
Okay.
I feel like we all just maybe know how it's going to go. Like, you can't expect happiness all the time. It's work.
It's work. Well, the second one, and accomplishment takes work. This one actually is work, correct? Accomplishment isn't a lack of work. It's from hard work.
Right.
Okay, the next one is called Gila. You guys know people named Gila? So it means happiness. Okay, they all mean happiness. So what kind of happiness is Gila? So in Hebrew, the word gal is a wave. Okay, so all happinesses are kind of like a wave, but this one is a pretty sharp wave. Okay, so this type of happiness is the happiness that you experience in association with newness. Okay, that's the new car, the new phone, okay, the new boyfriend or the new girlfriend. I always tell people, you better be careful, because when people are so excited to be in a relationship, you don't know if they're excited about the you or about the new, because there's a certain amount of excitement and happiness that comes from the new. Okay, so these are people that, like, they cycle people, right? The next girlfriend, the next boyfriend, the next, right? Because they love that first initial phase of Gila. Okay, so how long does Gila last?
Temporary.
Pretty darn temporary, right? You know, you're looking at the newer iPhone a week after you get the one you just bought. You know, this one is even less. I think it's even shorter than the last one, because you worked for the last one. Now, what's interesting is you can layer happinesses. So you can feel both at the same time. So let's say you got that new car and you worked for it and you saved up every summer and you babysat, right? So now we have this car, you're feeling the excitement of newness, and you're feeling sason, the joy of accomplishment, at the same time. Okay? So you can layer the happinesses as well. So what did we see about the first two? They're both amazing. They feel great. They don't last very long. What would happen if you believe that true happiness is called Gila? It comes from this newness. What's your life going to look like?
Always seeking the next best thing.
Do you know anyone like that?
Yes.
You're crazy.
Dating in LA, right, Gabby?
I was going to say, anyone with a dating app.
Yeah.
Go Jay Sweat. Okay, so like we're all in this. We're all in this together. All of us are doing this. Okay. So the next
This
one
is how
is,
Apple makes money, though, Rabbi J.
what?
This is how Apple makes money.
Yeah. Look, you know, it fuels the economy. Okay, I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm saying enjoy every second of it. Every single second of it, savor it. Suck the marrow out of the bone. Just don't hold on and expect it to last forever. okay? Because you're going to become addicted. Because everyone needs happiness. And if you define happiness as that, then you will become addicted to it, okay?
I have a question for you, Rabbi.
Yeah.
So when people are between these happiness levels and either they're working towards the next level of happiness or next thing that's going to provide them happiness, how can people be more comfortable in these uncomfortable places while they're trying to attain that brief temporary peace of happiness?
That is the whole point of the class. You are right there.
So I need to wait.
What? That's the whole point of the class. Thank you.
Great question.
Sorry for spoiling. Yeah, I wasn't trying to cut to the end, but
you're like literally right on it. Like that's the class. That's the whole point, you know? But I like how women are very practical. I'm like,
we're just connected, you know?
You're like, I need to know why we're doing this class right now. Okay, we'll do a few more and then we'll see your point. Okay. So the next one is called Rina. You guys know people named Rina, another word for happiness, because they're all words around. Okay. So actually, let's review really quick. We saw Sasun is a joy of accomplishment. Gila is a joy of newness. Okay, Rina. Rina is the joy when something unexpected happens that's like an unexpected windfall. Like you win the lottery. Okay? Came out of nowhere and it was this windfall. Rina has to do with shouting out of the mouth. So if you won the lottery right now, you just found out, what would you do? Would you scream? Would you scream? Yeah. Ah, right? So that's Rina. That feeling of excitement, something unexpected, a windfall happens. Right? You just want to shout out that moment, that experience of happiness. That's called Rina. Okay? Didn't work for it. Wasn't that, something new that you acquired? It's like unexpected. It's even more. Okay? Rina is not something that you can plan, because by definition it's unexpected, right? So it just kind of happens to you. Accomplishment-wise, you can kind of predict it. This one is going to be tough to do.
Do you think people name their kids Rina when it was like an unexpected child?
Could be. It could
be. That would make a lot of sense, because names obviously are very important and have big significance.
Yeah.
But like if it was a surprise, it's Rina.
Or maybe they were trying and then they stopped trying and all of a sudden, boom, like that's Rina. That actually is a great example of Rina. Beautiful example of Rina. And if they tried and tried and tried, it's also Sason. And the newness, right? You get it? It's like, boom. You can just layer happiness on happiness on happiness.
They're all connected.
They're all connected. But how long does Rina last? Okay, you win the lotto. We're all dreaming of winning the lotto, right? How long does the happiness from winning the lotto last?
Maybe as long as you have it. So as long as you have that money, it lasts. I don't know.
You know what? The money brings problems. They found that people that win the lotto have a higher suicide rate than like anyone else.
Yeah, I don't agree that you're getting happiness from winning the lotto. So when you said that, I was actually running in the opposite direction, because that scares me.
Well, you do get temporary happiness, which you would agree. There's an elation that happens at first, but it's not. We're saying, how long does it last? It is not a permanent, long-lasting happiness. And that's what I think you're trying to point out, right? But you would feel elated for a short period of time. I would, right? I for sure would.
Definitely.
Okay, so the next one is called Ditza. And Ditza is related to dancing like Rina is related to singing. Okay, so what would be even greater than singing that you want to just dance? So Ditza is also unexpected in a sense, but it's a turnaround. You thought you were going the other way, and it flips. Like you're at the bottom of the ninth, you're losing by like 7. It's the Super Bowl, right? Not Super Bowl. It's the World Series. Bottom of the ninth, you're losing. All of a sudden, and you've resigned. You're done. You didn't win it this year. It's over. And all of a sudden, bases loaded, and then a grand slam, and you guys win the Super Bowl. right, the World Series. How do you feel at that moment? You dancing?
Yeah.
You're dancing. You're not just screaming. You're screaming also, but you're dancing. Okay, you're the guy at the football and he's like throws the football down. He's dancing. Okay, so that's ditza. You didn't expect it. It was like the opposite was where you were going, and all of a sudden it flips around. So it's the unexpected windfall, but everything was against you. Okay, so that's a profound experience of happiness. It's amazing. How long does it last?
Temporary again.
Yeah, temporary. But are you supposed to enjoy it?
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Revel in it. Enjoy every second of it. It's one of those great moments of life, right? It's like the sprinkles on top, right? The sprinkles are amazing. You love every sprinkle, right? But it's not the main part of the dessert. Okay, so the next two are like a set. It's called Hana and Oneg. You guys have probably heard of Oneg from Oneg Shabbat, right? Like we talk about Oneg Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat. So Hana is the joy that you get when you're having physical pleasure. Okay? So literally, the joy that you experience from physical pleasure is called Hana. Okay, but te'avon is like have a good appetite. Like, you know, your appetite should be satisfied. When you're eating, you're having Hana. And tell me, are you having happiness at that moment? You are. You're feeling happy. This is why. What?
Gabby makes the best challah.
Oh, do you?
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I do like my challah. It's very sweet and tasty and soft.
Is it whole wheat or regular?
It's regular because I haven't experimented with the healthy stuff yet.
Okay.
I took a class and this is
Alie,
what happened.
Alie,
and it's
come on.
delicious.
I know, I gotta make healthy challah. She's gonna teach me.
That's coming up next.
2 souls on Shabbat, right, Rabbi J?
2 souls, right? It doesn't matter. Okay, so if that's Hana, what is Oneg that we talk about on Shabbat? So Oneg is when that physical pleasure also has a spiritual component. So if someone that loves you cooked you this meal for your birthday because they love you and you're so special and they want to give back to you, so you're having physical pleasure, right? But isn't there something more that you're also experiencing? That's called Oneg. The spiritual pleasure that you experience from consuming the physical is called Oneg. And that's what Shabbat is all about. Because since it's a mitzvah to have physical pleasure on Shabbos, we know that when we're having it, we're actually like getting from God something at the same time we're enjoying it, right? So that experience of having pleasure on Shabbos is like so much more elevated. Okay, you feel like it's a gift. What?
Is that kind of like we're connecting with the dark, like not the darkness? Is it like we're connecting with Hashem and then connecting with our physical bodies, and that's why it's like intertwining everything?
You know, the analogy I often give is like if you find a diamond ring in the street and it's worth a lot of money and it's exciting, you found something, but then if someone who wants to marry you gives it to you, what's the difference? It's the same ring, right? So one you see as a gift from someone you love and who loves you. So that's how I see Oneg Shabbat, is this pleasure Hashem is asking me. He's saying, I created a world filled with pleasure. I want you to experience this pleasure. I want you to know it's from me because I love you. And that's Oneg Shabbat. Okay, and it's very hard on other days because we get so caught up in the physical, we just eat like an animal. But on Shabbat, you know, to maintain this level is much easier on Shabbat.
So, for example, with this podcast, if I love doing this and it fulfills my soul, then it's Oneg. Right?
Well, you're also getting sassoon because you work real hard, right?
True.
There's probably some gila because there's a new person and a new experience each time, and you like newness, right? You get it? It's like, and you're having Oneg.
So is it really possible to really separate and define things? Because, I mean, a lot of these cross over each other.
Well, they're all different, but you can experience different things at the same time. Just like on your tongue, you can experience sweet and sour at the same time. So you can experience different types of pleasures at the same time. So we can differentiate, but we also can blend, like a symphony, right? Like a symphony has different instruments, but when they come together, it creates something beautiful. So do these pleasures and these happinesses. The symphony of happiness. Oh, I should call this class the Happiness Symphony.
I love it.
I love it. You're so good, Alie.
Baruch Hashem.
Oh.
You said symphony.
Yeah, but you like put it together. Okay, so that's why it's a special mitzvah on Shabbos to have relations with your wife, not with a stranger, with your wife, because that pleasure and then the love and the connectedness is so much more powerful on Shabbos when God is a part of that union and God is, literally part of the intimacy, the love of God and the, being beloved by God is part of the intimacy. It makes it so much more special, right? Okay, next one is Alie's. You guys know people named Aliza? Okay.
We interviewed someone named Aliza on this.
So you want to know what her name means?
Yes, happiness.
Happiness.
We're good.
But what kind of happiness? Okay, so Alie's is the happiness that all of a sudden just hits you like you woke up on the right side of the bed. You're in the zone. You know that? All of a sudden, you didn't do anything. It's out of nowhere, but like, I feel good. You just you feel good. You just feel happy. It just wells up from within. Okay, so that experience is called Alie's. It's a beautiful type of happiness, right?
Waking up in Israel.
Waking up in Israel, you just feel good. You just feel good. It's like in you.
Does that come from, you mentioned it's in you, so does that come from like your inner self is creating your happiness?
Well,
right?
We don't know. That's the thing. You're not sure. You don't have much control of that now, do you?
Well, if you're praying, for example, or meditating, it's the same kind of thing. And you finish that prayer and now you feel good and you have happiness because you just prayed or meditated. Isn't that like that same idea?
Well, that could be the next one. The next one is called chedva, and that means the happiness of togetherness. The sense of togetherness that you experience when you pray, when you meditate. I mean, there's different ones. I don't know if it would be Alie's. Alie's is kind of like, it's not based on anything specific that you did. It just wells up from somewhere, like a geyser, like it just, you don't prepare, it just came. It's like a gift. It's like a free gift. But meditation isn't a free gift. You worked. And I think what you're experiencing is there's a certain intimacy with meditation, right? Intimacy with yourself. And you feel that togetherness and that harmony. I think that's probably, and I think you do something with that. Okay, we'll do two more and then we're done for this little round. And then we're going to see the big picture. Okay, so next is menucha, which is also a big Shabbos word. And menucha, we translate as rest and tranquility. Okay, so that also could be meditation. Okay, because you feel a sense of tranquility. Menucha is when you feel like you're already home and there's nothing left to do and you're at peace and you're at rest. That's menucha. When we say Shabbat Shalom, okay, that's why we say it. Because menucha, Shabbos menucha, all the songs about menucha. These are the things that we experience on Shabbos and we cultivate on Shabbos. When people are walking around really in a Shabbos mode, then they should be feeling all these types of happinesses. Okay, but how long do even these happinesses last? How long does the physical pleasure happiness last? As long as you're still eating, right?
Yeah, until after you're done and digesting.
Yeah. Then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have, And how long?
Thanksgiving.
What?
Thanksgiving.
Right, yeah.
Or Shabbat.
Yeah, I was going to say Shabbat.
Yeah, not all of Shabbat is will last. Okay, some of it is for that day and that moment, like a special treat for that moment. It's our dessert Shabbat, What about, which one did we do before? Alie's. Okay, so that one lasts. How long does that I feel good mood last? Like half a day. You got about half a day out of that one. And the chedva, the spiritual of connectedness and togetherness, As long as you're together, you feel it, hopefully, but once the two people leave or you stop meditating, how long does it last? Same thing with the menucha. You feel a sense of inner peace and tranquility and rest. How long do these things last? So all these things are also temporary. And the last one is the funnest one. It's the fun one. Besides Hana, which is physical pleasure, this one's like up there with that. So it's called taiva. Okay, actually, this is the B'tei Avon. I messed it up. It's called taiva, and taiva literally means desire. So there's a difference between eating the food and desiring the food. Okay, if you've ever got obsessed with buying a certain thing, and you researched and you looked and right? It was this obsessiveness, right? And then you bought it and you were like, oh, because what was the fun part? Was desiring it, right? It's like when I did the rappelling, I always go last because I'd rather sit there and desire. Okay, so you go and then you wait for everyone. No, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to desire and be excited for the pleasure that's to come. So the desire itself, when you're hot, feeling hot with desire for something, you feel happy and excited. Okay? So that's called taiva. How long does this one last?
Short term.
Okay, now, all the ones that we just did, we did sason, which is accomplishment. Okay, we did gila, which is newness. We did rina, which is unexpected. We did ditza, which is it turned around, it flipped around, right? Hana, oneg, these are pleasures from consuming. We did chedva, which is togetherness, menucha, which is rest. All these things are temporary and they are fairly out of our control, or they're dependent on something outside of us. So accomplishments we can somewhat control. We can't for sure completely make sure we're accomplishing. We get the accomplishment, but it's dependent on something else. That's not part of the core of who we are, right? All these things are either temporary or they're dependent upon something else. So what's life going to look like if we define happiness as any one of these things?
Fleeting moments of joy and then not being happy and seeking and returning.
Pursuit. People that are only into desire. The shopaholics, right? That want to feel that desire for something constantly, or right? Even the people that want to feel the togetherness all the time, right? So they're always looking to attach, right? So
it's like chasing an addiction.
It's all like chasing an addiction because we all want happiness. And so we're geared toward motivating ourselves toward its achievement. So we're constantly going for it. These things are all amazing. Love them all. Celebrate them all. They're the high moments of your lives. They're the best. They're great. But none of them last, and none of them can be the secret to true and lasting happiness. They're the icing on top, right? If that's the case, what is the secret to true and lasting happiness? And what can we do in between the peak moments of our lives, right? So that is your question. And when I was researching, there were 3 words that stood out from the rest of the list. And they're a fundamentally different approach to happiness. Okay. And as I was just researching, it was so cool. I just kind of saw how they grouped together into two divisions. Okay. So in this next group, the first one is called Osher. Okay, we say this prayer, Ashrei Yoshvei, fortunate are the ones that live in Hashem's house, right? This experience of feeling fortunate is one of the words for happiness. Okay, we would talk very much about gratitude. What does it mean to feel fortunate? It means to really appreciate the incredible blessings in your life. To realize that we have so much, we're so blessed. Right? Make a list. I once had a girl, she made a gratitude list. Every day during the week, she would write one thing that she was grateful for, and she'd try to do, different ones. And then on Shabbos, she would read the 6 from the week. And she said it transformed her life because she started to look at the world of what should I put on my great gratitude list, and she started seeing the world as this source of fortune and blessing, and she started realizing how much she already has. Okay, this is a huge thing for Shabbos also. We stop our obsessive produce, of more and more and more. We're full, we're not full, we're lacking, we need to fill. On Shabbos we say we're done. We're full now, right? We're ceasing the obsessive quest. Okay, so that is Osher, feeling a profound sense of fullness and happiness for what I already have. That doesn't mean I don't want more, but wanting more doesn't mean I can't feel amazing about what I already have. It's not contradictory. Okay? And if you don't feel amazing about what you already have, when are you going to get the goods in life? When are you going to get the goods? Right? So want more, but feel great about all the blessings that you have in your life. Okay, so that's Osher. Okay, now, Osher has the same letters as the word Rosh in Hebrew. What does Rosh mean?
Happy?
Rosh.
Head.
Oh, head.
Head. Rosh Hashanah, right? So
yeah,
where does
you're right. The head of the
Osher,
year.
where does Osher come from?
Head.
Okay, so do you need, what are you dependent on for Osher?
Your brain? Your
Your
mind?
attitude, your brain, how you look at the world. Okay, it doesn't mean, right? No matter what's happening, you could have not gotten that accomplishment that you wanted. Can you still feel incredibly grateful for all the blessings in your life? Okay, so Osher is something that you can generate and control. And if you're focused in this mindset, which is hard to hold on forever, obviously, but if you are focused in the mindset, how long does it last? Yeah. You can literally be in this all the time because it's not dependent upon anything that you don't have control over. So you can walk around in a profound state of gratitude and you will feel happy.
So are you saying this lasts a little bit longer, Osher?
Osher is something you can generate. You can regenerate. You don't need any inputs. You can regenerate it.
So you're more in control.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. You can regenerate it anytime. It's a constant source of happiness.
It's almost like recyclable. It's interesting because Gabby and I have talked a lot about gratitude, like from day one, like how to manifest your future and like your reality, and like when you're in a place, which is what we want to touch on too, is like so many times in life we get in this state of like, oh, everything's going wrong and like I don't know what to do and I'm not happy, and like, but then you're like, wait, I have a house and we have dogs and like, family and your friends.
Family.
Oh my God, what am I doing?
No, we lose it so easily.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But this is a muscle. See, everything is a muscle, as you know, as a trainer. And this is one of those things that you can strengthen. Okay? You can strengthen this muscle. Okay, so that's the first one. There's 3 in this group. The second one is called ahava. And everyone knows this word, it means love. Okay, so obviously when we feel we're in love, when we feel happy. Everyone knows that. But why is it in this group? So the Jewish definition of love is not a sense of infatuation, although it's also amazing to feel. We saw them in the last group, right? There's lots of those that happen in the course of a relationship developing. We're going to focus on this one thing that the Torah is calling ahava. So ahava is the same numerical value as the word echad, which means one. So it's telling us that something about love is an experience of oneness. When I feel that you and I are both neshamo, we're both souls, we're both products of the same creator. Right? This whole world is just a manifestation of the divine, and I feel a oneness with it and a connectivity to it. And I see the good in you because I see you as a neshama, as a soul, right? And I feel that we're connected and you're a part of me and I'm a part of you because we share on some level, some human common soul. So all of that creates a profound experience of love. And you can walk around And I'm not saying I'm here yet, but you can walk around loving everyone if you can see them like that. And you can love the world, and you can love dogs and trees, and you can love everything if you see the world like that, right? So again, how long does this potentially last?
As long as you focus on it.
Yeah, if you focus on it, right, it can last a lifetime. Okay, the last one is called, and finally, the word you've all been waiting for, right? What do we always associate with happiness? The word simcha, right? I mean, everyone says, what's happiness in Judaism? We say simcha. Okay, so what does simcha mean? So simcha is a really interesting type of happiness. Simcha is the happiness that you feel when you are truly expressing your highest good. When you feel that your life is an expression of your good, or this action that you did was coming from your soul, you feel this sense of like unbelievable connectivity and joy and simcha, right? That's what simcha is. Okay, so I have a choice at any moment which self I'm going to express. I can express a higher sense of self or a much more lower sense of self. Okay, if I choose the high road, if I choose to express my higher sense of self and I give that expression through me and my body, right, and I channel that through me and through my body, the experience that I'm left with is called simcha. That is why we are so obsessed in Judaism with doing mitzvot, with simcha. Because what a mitzvah is supposed to be, and it's not always like this, but what it should be, and it's supposed to be, you should literally feel that through this action, I am channeling and expressing my relationship to God and my connection to God. And if that is what my action feels, I will be doing that mitzvah with simcha. Okay, and that's why we always talk about it, because that's like a complete mitzvah. And that's the connection that we want to build. Okay, so the last three: love, gratitude, and expressing your soul in this world. Okay, so are there opportunities for this all the time? And does it depend more on your focus than on anything that's kind of outside of your control and your right? So these three are happinesses that can be sustainable, that can last a lifetime. So the bomb question is, what percentage of the time, we're all pursuing happiness, what percentage of the time are we pursuing the first group versus the last group, the second group? How much time are we devoting to newness and accomplishments and, right, all those types of things versus gratitude and expressing our higher selves and feeling beloved and making other people beloved? Where are we right now? Where are we at? What do you think?
I think obviously we're in the first half of it. The first, 7 was that?
Yeah.
Because most people want that temporary feeling of satisfaction, because we're especially in America, I think we're such a materialistic society where we're just constantly seeking pleasure from outside things.
And we define pleasure and happiness
Exactly.
in the first group.
Exactly.
So would you say it's 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30?
70-30.
Yeah,
Okay.
70-30.
So
Some
yeah,
even be 80-20.
maybe even 80-20.
Yeah.
Those other things are great, but they don't last very long. So why would you invest 80% of your time in them? That doesn't make any sense, right? So how do you achieve light in the darkness? Is to cultivate the happinesses that are dependent on you. So how do you develop the light in this darkness, in the dark time? It's not to run after more new things, and it's not, right? It's to literally stop and cultivate the mindset that's going to lead to long-term sustainable happiness. And that can be no matter what's going on in your life. There's no darkness anymore. It could be happiness. So that's my blessing to everyone, is that we should enjoy the spice of life. It makes life so good and so fun. But we should understand that the foundation of happiness is something that's right within our grasp. and it can last a lifetime.
What would you say to somebody who's going through a major life event, but then tries to exercise these happiness activities in the second group to bring them inner happiness, but maybe these negative events in their life are preventing them from a complete, fulfilled happiness level?
Great question. So look, when someone is right now experiencing an acute sense of loss, mourning, tragedy, are not the times. We have these laws for mourning. When someone's in the act of grieving stage, we don't sit there and tell them, look, it's all for the best. You help people and you comfort people and you support people through their grieving. But we know that can't last forever. Okay? And there has to be a pathway out of the grief back into life. And that's what I would help a person, is understand the phases of this process and help to be with them when they're in the very acute period, and then kind of give them a roadmap and help them and guide them through the stages until they can re-embrace their lives.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that it's okay to feel, it's okay to experience this uncomfortable place, but then don't sit in it too long where it's taken over the rest of your life and you cannot move into light at some point.
Yes, of course, we are supposed to feel our feelings. We're supposed to feel all of our feelings. And in fact, our feelings are probably the thing that brings us the closest to God. And oftentimes it's our negative feelings. So everything in this world is really just a message from God and a tool to restore the connectivity. Everything is. But you have to use it for its purpose. It's not there to feel like you're a victim and just feel, enjoy the feeling of victimhood so you get sympathy. It's to reconnect to your source. That's a very different, motivating force than it would be victimhood. Right?
One thing that I keep thinking too, Rabbi, is that, prayer is so important, and having a connection to a higher power.
Yes.
Whatever level you're at, like whether
Yes.
taking 5 minutes to kind of pray to God, like thanking God for everything you have, or whatever God you believe in.
Exactly.
But that kind of grounds you in that second level of happiness, so that you can actually have it be sustainable throughout the day. So maybe taking moments of time throughout the day to pause and kind of pray and meditate and just think about everything you do have.
Well, I'll actually segue to my thing that I'm working on in kind of response, I realized, to what Gabby just asked. So really, in order to process emotions and the troubling, dark emotions, there has to be a part of ourselves that is, exactly like Alie said, still connected to God. Because what people do is oftentimes the emotions overwhelm them and they lose all sense of self. And that really is what trauma is. Trauma is when something overwhelms your ability to cope and your sense of self is shattered. In Kabbalah, we call that shavirat hakelim, the breaking of the vessel. So when something is too much for you to cope and the light overpowers you, so there's a shattering that takes place. Okay, so to process that, you need to rebuild a sense of self that is able to partner with that broken part, or not broken, but right, and then restore it back to the light. So that's really what I'm working on, is a step-by-step meditation. Each one is just 15 minutes, and there's probably going to be 6 or 7, and people are kind of listening to each one several times. I suggest a full week, once a week, and then getting the second one. And each one builds on the previous one. You can't even think about doing the second one until you've done the first one, because you don't even have the capacity yet, right? And each one is building the emotional resilience of the higher self and bringing it into the body, and then creating a relationship with the part of you that's experiencing the hurt. I call it the hurt and still sensitive part of you, because like any wound, okay, we get a hurt and then there's a sensitivity. And what do we do when something is hurt and still sensitive? We protect it, we push things away from it, right? So that's what we do with our emotional hurts as well. So that's all it is an overwhelmed part that was hurt and still sensitive now. And it's a whole process of bringing it back in without crushing it, or, God, like trying to zap it with God so it feels good again, like all these things that just feel good temporarily but don't really work. And it's this incredible foundation also because it's all based on Kabbalah. And it's like giving you the whole framework of Torah at the same time. Okay, so it's very exciting and very, very cool, and it's very big. And I'm working on it day and night.
So where would people be able to get these meditations? Is it on your website or?
Not yet. You are one of the first. I told Alie, one of the first people. So I have written the first 4. The 5th one is in flux because I need to live this. And so I'm always feeling like, what's the next step? The 5th one's coming along though, but the first 4 are completely written, and I'm having some technical recording difficulties, but I'm working on them, and I'm going to re-record the first one again, but I've done it now like 6 times. And I have them, I just have to go through and record them and do the background music and put them
I'm proud of you though, Rabbi, because here in Israel, I was like, you should have a podcast. You should have like a thing like what Gedalia does. And you were like, yeah, maybe I'll do it. But now through Corona, like through the darkness, you found a way to create light and start something, which is like
I'm combining like East and West, and I'm creating a whole way of organizing your inner world and structuring it. And like, it's just, and with their higher, it's just like this whole, and it's like, you'll just see like at the end, I'm going to pull away the mask and you'll see where it is in the Torah, and you'll be like, oh, that's what it's talking about, like.
So do we get sneak peek to this one?
I'm going to give you the first one. As soon as I re-record it, I was up till midnight last night, literally recording this thing, and then the sound, I just got a new mic. It should be good now. I don't know. I'm having a hard time.
Well, you know what? Like you mentioned throughout this whole show, these hard times, these times of darkness create a big light for a lot of people. And that's what you're doing with these meditations.
If like feeling alienated or feeling overwhelmed, all these things is a pathway for people back to God, we can just celebrate and embrace. And I'm telling you, like, I'm taking you on this trip. This trip, but you don't realize it because it's so subtle, but it's so interesting and it's so cool. We'll see if people can do it. I think people can, because I'm trying to, it's very gradual, but it'll be interesting to see people's experiences.
So where can we find you, Rabbi J? I know
you know how to get in touch with me, Alie, anytime. I'm always there.
So let's say our viewers want to get in touch with you. How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, so my email is yjacobs@aishali.com, and my cell phone is 310-497-9071. If I don't pick up, text me.
That's
wow.
Okay.
Giving everybody your number.
I'm here for everyone,
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Rabbi Jacobs. This was a great conversation. I'm sure we could all use happiness and a guide into happiness and finding it in any dark moment or experience in our life, as we all have many of them throughout life. Yes. So thank you for giving us a way to cope and for a way to us to be better and to see the other side.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we hope to have you again soon. Thank you guys for listening. Please make sure to subscribe and like and give us a good rating and give us some comments if you have any opinions on anything you heard today. For myself and Alie, we'll see you next time for Breaking Bread with Alie and Gabby. Love your 2 favorite Jewish girls.
Thank you. Bye.